Hi, I'm Lawrence Harul. My business name is Aviel. We're your navigators for performance, providence and profit. What I want to talk to you about today is how to identify your life purpose and how to get life living the way you want it to be. So if we have a look over here, this graph represents your life. Along here we have the things, the dollars, the stuff. Up here is the inspirational or the spiritual side of things. So what generally happens in the West is we travel along here, we go to school, university, tech, all those sorts of things, in order to get the qualifications so that we can get a good job that'll give us a great income and we can have the stuff. What often happens when we do this is that at some point something changes. Now that can be that you have that you're made redundant. It could be that you have some sort of health crisis, heart attack, a stroke, something like that. It could be that you come home and the locks have been changed. All sorts of things happen that make you sit up and say, this just isn't working. And what happens there is we hit a wall. And we call that a crisis of meaning. And the point there is that we've identified that life doesn't have any meaning or purpose for us. And so we start to look at what we're doing and decide that we need to get away from this focus on the things and to start working along the other axis, which is this spiritual one. So you have a sea change, a tree change, you start to focus on spending time with family and friends. You decide you want to do something to make a contribution to society, all sorts of things. So you're focusing more along this axis and coming back from the things side. Now the other side of things that happens is people who go up this way. Now this happens very often in alternative healing and stuff like that, where people feel that they have a gift and that in order to share this gift with the world, they don't feel comfortable with charging for it. And that if I'm doing what the universe wants me to do, then somehow the universe should provide an income. And what happens there is that it doesn't. Things don't work. Financially, it's not working out and stuff like that. And you have there what we call a crisis of duality. So basically you get people there who go off and they'll do lots of courses and programs and all this type of thing, but when they come out of it, like they're still struggling financially. And so they decide, I've got to spend some time actually focusing on getting some dollars in. I've got to get my business working effectively. I've got to go out, get a job so that I can feed myself and my family and do all those sorts of things. Where we should actually be is this central axis. Now this represents our soul. When we come to this earth, when we're born, our soul comes with a particular purpose in mind. We're here for a reason. And our life is designed so that there should be a balance between the things and the inspirational side of life. As we get further and further away from this central axis, which is where we should be living, we get pain happening. And it's just a question of how much pain we can put up with before we have a crisis, before something kicks in to say this just isn't working, I can't put up with this anymore, I've got to do something different. And so what we're looking for is a life that goes like this. Now we can't live on that central axis all the time. But the idea is, if we know what that is, if we know what that purpose line is, this is our purpose. This is the thing that gives us real meaning. That's That's the thing that we're here to achieve. Now, if we're normal human beings, we can't live on that line all the time. But what we can do by understanding that is that we can adjust ourselves and we know where we were supposed to be. And so as we move away from that axis, or from that central line, we can tell that things aren't working for us and we need to make adjustments. So if we're heading along here, we get the sense of, I've been spending too much time at work, I need to take a weekend off to spend some time around my family and doing things like that. We spend a bit too much time with the family, having a bit too much fun, and so I need to get back to work to get the income happening to fund the things that I need to do, and so we come back along here. And we keep moving backwards and forwards along that axis, but as you can see there, we're not heading out into these crisis areas where there is so much pain that we just can't deal with it anymore and something breaks. So the thing here is, if you think about when they send rockets to the moon and to Mars and places like that, those trips take years and years to happen, either in the planning and development of the equipment and all that sort of stuff. But even a trip to Mars takes 6 to 12 months at least, just in travelling time. And from there, from here on Earth, we're able to get a vehicle the size of a small car onto a particular place on a planet hundreds of thousands of kilometres away. In order to do that, those rocket ships are only on course 3% of the time. And they travel like this. As they get off course, their gyroscopes and their sensors and all that type of thing tell them that they're off track. They fire some rockets, make a shift, and so come over here. They get a sense again, they're too far off track, kick in some rockets and come in, and so it goes like that. Now, in our life, 3% of the time means that if we had one day a month that was just right, then life would be perfect. So this is what I see as our ideal life. We don't want to be living in this space. We don't want to be going from a crisis of meaning to a crisis of duality and back again. We want to live a balanced, even life. Now, that doesn't mean that there are no challenges and all that type of thing. Stuff happens. But if you understand what your purpose is, then it happens within a context. And you understand why those things happen, because they're trying to bring you back onto track. You're drifting off too far, and the universe, which is you at a soul level, is trying to get you back on course. Now for me, the easiest way to identify this purpose is through astrology. One of the challenges that we have is that from our own perspective, we can't identify what this is because we're too caught up in our own thinking. We're too caught up in this process or this process. And the way we think locks us into particular behavior patterns. So stuff like processes like astrology help us get outside of our own paradigm, outside of our own way of thinking, and enable us to identify our life purpose and then to be able to experience life the way it should be. So that's the way I see things. If you'd like to find out more about how astrology can work for you, both in your personal life and in your business life, give me a call. Our web address is aviel.com.au. Visit us there. We've got our contact details and all that type of thing, and I'd love to hear from you. Bye.